let's just kind of start at the beginning. How did you both get involved in working in baseball? How did you decide that this is something you wanted to really pursue for a career?
Yeah, do you wanna go first? Yeah, go for it. Okay. So, I actually played college soccer, so my mind was on soccer and working in soccer for the rest of my life. And then actually once I went into my 5th year of college, I decided that I wanted to try something different and I needed an internship to graduate, and I found the Rafters internship, on a sports website called teamworkonline.com. And so I came out here. I loved the community. It was fantastic. And they actually hired me on full time after that. So I've just been here ever since 2018 when I was an intern.
And what
Yeah.
about you, Chloe?
So on my end, I guess I've always known since I was a kid that I wanted to work in baseball. I got really involved with our baseball team at my university at Chapman. And I got really close with the coach and the athletic director. And one day I sat in their office and I was like, I want to do something in baseball this summer. And our baseball coach coached out here way back when the Rafters started out. And so he's like, I'm going to send you to Wisconsin. And I was like, okay, this is crazy, but okay, I'm going to do it. So I came out here, had an absolute blast interning with Hannah. We interned together in 2018. And then I left, went back to school, finished school, did some work with the Clippers out there, got a little bit more experience under my belt, and then decided that working at the non-pro level was for me. I came back and did a seasonal role this past summer and then ended up getting to stay full time. So
Sure. And before I get to the history making part of this, could you just kind of walk me through what you've been doing in the off season? What does minor league assistant GM and a minor league front office, what are they doing at this time of year?
Yeah, so our biggest thing is we have a ton of partners within the local area, whether it's here in Wisconsin Rapids and Nakusa, Port Edwards, Plover Point. So after the season gets over, we look at all of their sponsorship and put it all together in a recap saying, hey, you wanted to partner with us, and here's our execution, and we are showing you how we executed our partnership and that we appreciate everything you do for our organization. So that's a really big thing. And then we're also kind of honing in on ticket sales right now as well. So I know Chloe's been doing her thing with ticket sales.
yeah, lots of phone calls, lots of touching base with people that have come to games in the past and just kind of checking in to see how their experience was and making sure we can get them back next year.
Sure. Now, I know for a lot of women in sports, oftentimes you're the only woman in the room at whatever organization you're working at. Have you found that both to be the case? Is it changing somewhat nowadays?
Um, I mean, I think you look across the whole Northwoods League, and there's a few teams who do have multiple women in their front offices. I know Kalamazoo does. I know Madison does. But then you look at other markets, and they have one, if any. So, I mean, I went to Northwoods League meetings last year in Rochester, Minnesota, where all 22 teams came together, and there was maybe 10 women in the room, and the rest were all men. So it was kind of a different experience. It opens your eyes a little bit when you're put in that situation. You look around and you're like, I'm surrounded by all men. I mean, it is a men dominated office because it is a men's sport, but I think we're kind of making moves. Our first GM here of the Rafters, her name was Liz Kern, and she was a female, and she kind of started the Rafters off strong. But when you have a small office like ours, I worked with all guys for the last 2 years, and now Chloe's in. So it's kind of cool to get that all female dominated front office. And I mean, we do the same work as a man does, so why not?
Yeah. And I kind of had a similar experience. Like at my university, I was kind of the only girl that wanted to work on the back end of sports, and I got to be the PA announcer because at a D3 school, like there's not many females that are interested in that side of working in sports. So I was really lucky there getting those opportunities. And then my time with the Clippers was definitely male dominated. So I was kind of used to the more male dominated before coming here. So it's really nice to be able to experience kind of the exact opposite.
Yeah, to work in a majority female front office, I know oftentimes the first person to do anything, whether it be first woman, first black, etc., usually fall into two camps. One that considers it a great honor and a privilege, and one that says, I don't really care about that. I just want to be known as a GM, not a woman GM.
Mm.
On that spectrum, where do you think you guys fall? Do you consider it an honor to be the first majority female, or do you just want people to not focus on that and say they're good at their jobs regardless of their gender?
I would say yes, in the fact that I would hope that other girls, younger girls, would be able to look at this as something that would open their eyes to the opportunities that are out there for them. But also, I can see on the side of I don't want that to be a defining aspect at all. Like, I want to be here because I deserve to be here because I have the skills to be here, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with Chloe. I mean, I think the biggest thing and why we did put the press release out and draw attention to it is because there are girls out there who don't know that they can work in a male sport. Usually women go to women's sports and men stay in men's sports. And it's cool to start seeing all of these female coaches starting to emerge no matter what, sports profession they're in, if it's NFL, if it's MLB. So just putting ourselves out there and getting girls who are younger or they do want to intern with us or they do want to work in sports and seeing that it is possible that no matter what gender you are, you can work for whatever sports team if you have the resume for it.
Yeah, you both mentioned feeling a responsibility to younger girls to kind of show them that it's possible. Do you feel like there are more visible examples of women in sports now as opposed to when you were growing up? And what still needs to be done on that front, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. Like I said, the female coaches that are out there now, they're giving a name saying that they can do it just as well as a man can. And Emily Jansen, she's the general manager of a AAA baseball team out of Reno, Nevada. And she actually reached out to me when I first got my promotion to assistant GM because she was empowering other women in sports. And to me, that made a huge example. I still remember it now. And I follow her and her jobs that she's going through just because she did reach out to me and kind of motivate me to do the exact same thing. So I want to be that same role model that encourages girls to apply and to know that they are doing great at their job.
And kind of to bounce off of that as well, it almost creates a little bit of a sense of community between, like Hannah said, she reached out to her, and it's like you feel like there are people out there that are there for you and are supporting you, which is also really, really awesome. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So, especially over this summer, there was something of a reckoning in sports media, particularly, but the sports world in general, with a lot of women opening up about sexism and misogyny they faced. I don't want to take you both into any territory you're uncomfortable with, but in as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing, have you ever had to face any of that in your career so far?
Unfortunately, yes. We do work in a male-dominated sport. We are working with college-age guys. So, of course, that's something you always have to worry about, and that's something that, I mean, we both cross paths with. But at the end of the day, I'm here to do my job, and whether or not someone's going to be hitting on you as they walk by you, it's something you just have to brush off and ignore. And it is unfortunate. We shouldn't have to go through that in a day-to-day job, especially as two front office members. So it is a little frustrating at times, but it's something that you have to push past. And if you want to get to the next level, that's just something you kind of have to ignore for now.
Yeah, and I had an experience when I was onboarding for a job, where it was mostly guys, but then there was me and one other girl my age, and we were kept longer than the guys just to kind of go over protocol. If this were to happen with a male, like this is what you need to do. And I just thought that was funny that the guys didn't have to be there for that experience as well. So that was just a specific instance I can think of where I was like, wow, like this really adds a whole another level of pressure to the job almost.
Sure. So, two final questions. One, I know that living the independent baseball league life or the minor league baseball life isn't always glamorous. I imagine you both had to move pretty far from home. How have you kind of managed to gain a sense of community and a sense of routine in Wisconsin Rapids? I mean, I imagine that just a couple years ago, neither of you thought you were going to be in Wisconsin Rapids, huh?
No,
Not at all.
absolutely not.
It's funny you say community though, because the community of Wisconsin Rapids is very welcoming. When you work for the Rafters, a lot of people know who you are, and a lot of people want to talk to you, and talk about the Rafters. So that's been very helpful. Also, I mean, Hannah came here though by herself. I had her coming here, so it was a lot easier for me.
Yeah, but I mean, Chloe kind of came across the U.S., so she had a bigger change. I came from Lincoln, Nebraska, so the weather's a little similar, so I kind of acclimated to that. But like Chloe said, the people of Wisconsin Rapids are absolutely amazing. They are so welcoming and they're endearing, and they just our community. And it's insane, this town of 18,000 people in the surrounding areas, they'll come, people bring us cookies, they bring us cinnamon rolls, they just welcome us with open arms, they ask us about our past, how we like it here, they invite us over for dinner. It's just, I can't even begin to explain how amazing everybody here in Wisconsin Rapids is.
And finally, what would you say has been the coolest moment in your job so far, if you had to pick just one?
A hard question.
Ooh, the coolest moment.
I think just this is kind of a recurring thing, but it's like at the end of the day or after a game when like you get to just look at like a full stadium. Well, not this past year, but when you get to look at a full stadium, even after fans have gone, like you just get to stand and like look at the field and be like, I work here. Like this is what I'm doing. Like how cool is that? I don't know. It's just a feeling that I can't really describe, but it's kind of the best feeling ever.
Yeah, I would probably say in the 2019 season, our very last home game, we had almost 2,400 people in the stadium, and it was packed, and everyone was here just to support us. And you kind of just take a step back and look around and think that all these 2,400 people in a town of 18,000 people are here for the Rafters, and you helped put this together. Like you helped put it on. It's it's just an unreal feeling that at especially the last day of the season, you just like take a breath and you think this was awesome. I mean, every day is different. You don't work a typical desk job every, I don't know. It's just such a cool experience to work in baseball.